Hi guys! Today the story that I have selected to review is a very beautiful and amazingly written short story called Cathedral by Raymond Carver. Before we begin to look at the story, let me tell you that Raymond Carver, who is sadly not among us anymore, was an American short story writer as well as a poet. The technique that he has employed in his writings is that of minimalism. So, what do we mean when we say that it is a minimalist story? That means that the story focuses more on the experiences that are happening in the story rather than the characters themselves. It does not include the heavy plots as well, so in a way it is easy to read. Moreover, it throws little hints now and then as to what is the central point of the story going to be through the actions and dialogues of the characters. Now, let's begin with the title of the story, Cathedral. That indicates that it has something to do with the cathedrals and churches, which we come to know with the development of the story that yes, it was through the drawing of the cathedral that the protagonist becomes enlightened with a certain feeling. So, here is the summary. A blind man, who was once employer of the protagonist's wife, visits her house as they kept contacting each other through sending audio tapes of telling each other of what has been happening in their lives all those years. The husband is reluctant to be frank with him at first as it looks queer to him to befriend a blind person acting normal. But slowly and gradually, when they open up with each other, especially in the absence of the wife, the husband begins to relate to the blind man, his guest. So what happens is that the husband asks his guest whether he knows what a cathedral looks like after watching the one on the television. On his replying in negative and asking him to explain it for him, the husband is at a loss because he doesn't know how to do it. It is then that the blind man urges him to draw it on a paper, feel it by closing his eyes, that the husband begins to see the plight of the blind people and start feeling that we all are alike from inside, or maybe those with apparent defects are more perceptive. It does not matter how we look from outside. So now let's look at the story in depth. If we look at the language of the story, it is absolutely simple yet insightful. Anybody can read it and grasp the main point of the story. The blind man possesses the power to make the protagonist see that blind people are normal people, and sometimes they are more influential, they are more perceptive than the people who have no defects. The husband, the normal person, the protagonist of the story, puts himself into the shoes of the blind man by closing his eyes and drawing the cathedral. So there is a kind of empathy created between the two characters. The last sentence that the protagonist speaks, it is really something, portrays not the drawing that the blind man thinks that he is looking at, but his ability to finally relate with him. I hope you have enjoyed the review of the short story. If you want to read the short story on your own, you can go to this link, copy this link, and enjoy reading. And if you want to read more reviews of the short stories of your choice, please let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you.